All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back. Happy Monday. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello.
How are you?
Great.
All right. Today, we're talking about why you're losing people. And we're going to cover it from three different vantage points. So, why a salon might be losing staff, why a salon might be losing renters, and why a salon might be losing clients.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll cover those three. And you brought this topic up.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what spawned it. Did you read something or see something, or is it just something that's been on your mind?
Well, it's been the frustrations in our own salon the last month of just shit that's been out of our control that's hit the fan. Anything from, if you've been listening, having issues with our power. We had some issues with some noises in our back room that were really annoying. And then we've had some major issues right now with certain products in our color line that have just been back ordered and not being able to get the right working product for us to do our clients. And it came up, I guess the product thing came up this week again. And thank goodness our staff knows that we go above and beyond and we're always working to keep everything we need the salon to be at a top level. But there are points if you're lacking in a lot of different areas in your salon.
So are we just diving in, or where did this
You
come
asked
from?
where it came from. So it came
Yeah.
from all of that. And I was just thinking, if you have a lot of problems in your salon, these are reasons why people would leave. Like if they're already out the door, these little things that just kind of came up, and ours happened after week after week after week. And then just was a reason why like you could get super frustrated and just be like, I'm out of here. So that's where
Okay.
it came.
All right. Let's start with opening takes then, and then we'll dive into that.
Sure.
All right. What do you got? Anything?
You can go first.
So you got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
We do this every week, and you still
Mm-hmm.
forget.
I know.
So here's mine. I read this somewhere the other day, and somebody was looking for advice online, which is, I don't know. Sometimes there's okay advice, but I would say it's mostly like people just making stuff up, right? And so someone said that you should call around when you open a business, you should call around. This was for salons, but it could be any business. You should call around to all the other similar businesses anonymously and get their prices so that you can have your prices be competitive to theirs.
Mm.
And I thought that that was the worst possible advice imaginable.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you why. I hate to be mean, but it works. And me being mean, it works. People, I mean, I'm trying to help, you know? One, what is their pricing based on?
Right.
It might be based on the same thing, which would be nothing. It would mean nothing. It could be based on their numbers, which would mean, again, nothing to you. It could be based on just their last salon, which
Mm-hmm.
again is nothing. It's based on nothing. Second, you need to figure out what your numbers are, because if you don't, you're probably, what I've seen in this industry is you're probably going to underprice everything, because you're going to copy, say you're doing, you're pricing your gloss or your glaze or whatever you want to call it. You're probably like, oh, it's $22 or $25 or $27. Why? Because that's what the salon before you charged. But they haven't raised their prices in 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're just like arbitrarily making your pricing list, which you're going to have to actually go through and redo, or you're going to be wondering why you're adding days. While you're working, you started out, you own a business, and you're like, oh, I'm going to work 4 days. Good for you. That's awesome. Good. You should. But then you're going to be like, I can't stay afloat, so I need to add a fifth day. I need to add a sixth day. I need to work a long day. And I just don't think it's the right way to do business. I think the best way to go about it would be to figure out what you need to make and then break that down, and then to look at how many, like, we don't need to get into the specifics, but how many hours is in your salon, or how many hours a week or a day, or however you want to figure it out, is your salon open? How many hours are you providing services? And then how much money do you have to bring in per hour to break even plus your profit that you want to make?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why calling another business would have any impact whatsoever on that at
Well,
all.
it shouldn't.
And then the last thing I'll say about this is, that if you are just copying someone else, you're only ever possibly best case scenario is that you are a second place finisher to whoever you're copying. Because obviously they're going to be better at it than you. And
True.
why would you want that? Why are you copying what other people are doing? It makes zero sense. It's
I
why
would
when
agree.
we mentor people, it's why when we help people that we just look at them as individuals and we're not like every salon needs to do this. Every salon needs to do that. Every barbershop must do this because it's not true. It doesn't hold up. Not every business, even though they're in the same industry, should be doing the same things. That's my opening take.
I like it. I mean, it's great
Perfect.
advice, and people should take you up on some of that stuff.
I just, it doesn't make sense. So if, say, I look across the street and I'm like, okay, Salon X is charging $35 for haircuts. Does that mean if I charge like, and when you say price
I know
competitively, does
which
that
way you're
mean
going to go with this one.
the same or under? Or am I
Right,
calling myself luxury and I'm just adding $5, which makes
right.
no sense? So now, say I'm at whatever. Say you do charge more, and you're like, all right, what number did I say? 30, 35?
35.
So say you charge $5 more, because that's the other advice I keep seeing. Just raise your prices by $5. So now you're charging $40 for a haircut. What if you're losing money when you do a haircut? Because you needed to be producing in that 45 minutes or an hour or whatever you book for your haircut. You needed to be producing $60. But you called someone across the street to get their price. It makes no sense at all. And
I
I have
agree.
no clue how to. I mean, more people need to realize that. Don't price competitively or you'll be out of business. You got to price for
Yeah,
what you need to make.
then you
Do
need
you
to know
have
what
an
that
opening
number
take
is.
or do you want to just dive in?
No,
Yeah,
I
you
got
need
I
to
got
know.
two little quick things.
'Cause I just,
That was great. I would say I feel like I say this a lot, but in any business, you need to lead by example. And I see often, well, we see all the time, like, what do you do for this? Kind of like what you just said. The actions you take, especially if you're the leader of your salon. So Todd and I are the owners in our salon. People look up to us. We have to make sure every time we walk in that building that we are leading them, that we are doing more than them, that we're doing everything. So to help them always level up, it's very easy to come in and be super lazy and be like, guys, do this, guys, do that, guys, do that. But if you yourself, you're not doing that, or maybe you don't enjoy doing that, those may be things that you need to change in your business. I learned it from being a parent, right? Like I can tell my kids all the time, don't do that. But then I'm like, if I'm doing that, they want to be like me and I need to change my habits. So lead by example. My other thing was creating opportunity. So, in any business that you are running, creating opportunity for your staff, creating opportunity for yourself, it helps you not be stagnant. We talk all the time about innovating and complacency and those two things. And I think if you can create opportunity for your staff or create different opportunities for yourself, you will not become complacent and you will continue to innovate, which will make your days more fun and hopefully get you more inspiration in any of the aspects of your business that you are doing. So those are my two things: quick, easy, fast. Thanks.
all right, let's dive into why salon. We'll start with salons. So commission salons, I guess, why they're losing
Sure.
staff.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, this was your topic. So I have some notes on it. And if you want, I can run through them. I just have like 5 little bullet points.
Sure, if you want to. See what your opinion is. I got mine too.
So staff in a commission salon, I think personally, my opinion is that there's a lack of opportunity. There's a lack of growth, like you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And when people can't see what's possible, when people can't see that there's more than where they are currently, and not meaning more than where they are like in a certain salon or a certain space, but you know how a lot of salons will have like one price across the board? Like
Mm-hmm.
everyone has to charge the same. Or when you have a level system that's sort of like, say there's levels 1 through 7. Well, when I get to level 7, what happens? I can't progress
Right.
past that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big one. I would say people will get, I don't know if frustrated is the right word, but I think people will be like, well, my time is limited here either way. Even if
Mm-hmm.
I get to that level 7, and even if it takes me 10 years, what after 10 years?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think there is I think that's a big one, I would
I
say.
would agree. I would agree.
Do you want me to just run through mine that I have?
Sure.
I think just mentorship is the way that you solve that. You know, it's meeting with your team. We do 2-on-1s, but have 1-on-1s or have your leadership. If you have managers, they should be doing this stuff. That should be off your plate. And they should be guiding people and they should be creating opportunities. Like for us, we've been creating opportunities for people that want to educate. So
Hmm.
that's one way that people can earn money under your brand for you beyond the chair, and it's almost infinite because you can
Right.
mentor them. Some sort of almost, I remember in like high school, we had career paths, it's called, where they would break down like, this is what your career will look like. Maybe you can do something like that with them. You know, we have somebody that likes to clean, so we hired them to clean the salon. So there are opportunities for people to do things in at Hello that show them that there's earning potential and there's potential to even belong, right?
Right.
So you're still with Hello, even though you're doing other things. And it's in a way, it's like endless.
Hmm. And if you're not sure how to create opportunity for your staff, maybe you ask them, like open ended, hey, what kind of other things would you like to do around here? Or what do you see for your future? Let them lead that conversation a little bit too, because you may get some insight that you didn't see. Right.
Yeah. And play to their strengths. I think a lot of people want to play to people's weaknesses and have weaknesses hold them back and be like, they're not ready to go on the floor. They're not ready to do this service.
Right.
Like instead of playing to what they are ready to do, because that will build people a lot faster than the opposite.
Absolutely.
The next reason I had was poor leadership. And with this, I had coupled communication. So if you're not
Hmm.
communicating with your staff and you're not leading your staff, there you're going to have a whole bunch of freaking
Absolutely.
issues, right?
Yeah. And
And
listening, right? Listening to your staff. Listen to what they say. Don't just blow them off. Some
oh yeah,
ideas may be
definitely.
bad, some ideas may be good, but you still need to listen and have a pulse on what's happening and what's irritating them or what's working for them. And kind of like what you said, like play to both. Like if there's a lot of things irritating your staff, okay, what do you need to fix? If there's a lot of things that they're celebrating, okay, how do you take that next level?
And what do you do? Like what do you do with that? I think that you do exactly what you just said. It's
Hmm.
just have the open communication, have regular sort of set meetings. You don't have to set them all for the year, but have meetings throughout the year, touch points with your staff. Feedback is a huge one, and that goes both directions. What are you doing well? What are they doing well? What can be improved? What can they improve? You can improve, whatever it might be. My third one I had was culture. So this is another big one. And I don't even know if we really need to dive into it because people know what culture is. You either have a good
Hmm.
culture or a bad culture. And bad culture would probably include, even if you were like, oh, it's neutral, like it is whatever. Well, then
Hmm.
that's whatever.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen there is over time, somebody's probably going to take over your salon and you're going to have that stylist that just thinks they're in charge. And they're
Right.
probably, I hate to use the word toxic because I feel like
That's the word I had on my list. So that's funny.
I just feel like it's a buzzword for
It
the
is.
past, like however
Yeah.
many years, and people are like, get rid of your toxic employee. But what generally happens, what we've seen happen at your past salon, what we've seen happen at multiple salons that we've helped, is that you always have this like one person that's completely just not a good fit, but they're one of the high earners.
Hmm.
So now the owner's like, well, if I get rid of them, and
Right.
that's on you. That's your leadership is poor. It's lacking.
Right.
And
By
so
not doing anything, you're saying a lot.
yeah, and what you need to do is you need to work on creating positivity within your business, which is obviously going to change your culture, and you need to have drama free. Like so, for example, I'll just be blunt. We have had people in the past that were creating drama. We fired them on the
Mhm.
spot. No questions
Mhm.
asked. See you later. We don't
Right.
tolerate it because the second you tolerate it, now you're letting other people know on your staff too that, oh, it's okay.
Right.
Or that person's being mean or a bully, so I can be mean or a bully back.
Right.
When in reality, they should just, which is what happened with us, they should just come to you and tell you and trust that you'll take care of it. But
Mhm.
if you don't have that leadership, which is what I mentioned in the last, then you're going to struggle to have people come to you with those issues.
Right.
The next one is just your pay structure. How many times have you seen salons taking advantage of people?
Right.
I know somebody that is at our salon that years ago had two owners that they worked for. and the owners were paying this person separately. And sometimes they would pay, sometimes they would like forget,
Mm.
quote unquote. And that's just a recipe for disaster if you're trying to build anything. You need
Yeah,
consistency and you need to be fair and you need to operate with integrity and you need to treat people well. And if you don't do those things, then
they're going to leave.
they're going to leave. The last one I had here, and I'm sure there are like dozens more, was just work life balance. People today are looking for flexibility.
Hmm.
How can you give them that? Well, you can give them that.
Yeah,
It's
whatever
as
that looks
simple
like for you,
it's
however
as
you can
simple
do
as that.
that. Yeah.
Yep. So maybe it's they are setting a schedule and you kind of get off your, well, at every salon I ever came up with, you had to work every Saturday. Maybe people want weekends off because people have lives outside of
Right.
hair. I know you think because you've been doing hair for, and I don't know who I'm talking to, probably like a Betsy or a Brenda, but you've been doing hair for 47 years. No one cares.
Right.
No one cares because we don't do it that way anymore. This isn't the
Yes.
50s.
You got to be running your salon in today's year, at least, please.
Right. So I would just respect people's things. Maybe it's making people sit around. Like I've seen that a ton on Facebook groups and where it's like people don't want to sit around. Well, no shit. Who wants to
Who
sit
wants to do
around?
that? Yeah.
Who wants to do that? So even if you're paying people, I see a lot of like, well, I pay hourly, blah, blah, blah. Well, either give them something to do. So maybe they
Right.
need some sort of, when you're not with a client, I want you to do A. When you're not with a client, I want you to do B next. And you have
Mhm.
a list or something. I don't know.
Right.
It would depend on the business. For us, we kind of let people run their schedules how they want.
Yep.
They
As long
let
as
us
they
know.
follow the rules within it, we are good.
Exactly. And that might not work for some people, but that works for us.
Right.
And I would say our retention is pretty good.
Hmm.
So,
The two things I have, are you
yep.
done with that?
Yeah, I'm done.
So what I see a lot is making promises you can't keep. So you're hiring and you're basically selling them the whole world. Like we're going to do all this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this. And then you fall short pretty much on 99% of the things. So the staff member is salty and you're trying to now repromise on stuff that you just can't deliver on. So having a clear, concise set of like standards when you hire of things that you truly can offer to the person you're hiring. There may be lots of things you wish you could do, but maybe at that moment you can't. Don't overpromise and underdeliver. I see that so often, even when we hire staff and they're like, whoa, you actually do the things you say? Like you're actually expecting me to do the things that like we talked about? Like, yes, that's the real world and how we operate. But clearly it's not what happens at most places. So I guess the solution to that is don't overpromise and underdeliver. Like I said, have a clear kind of layout of what you can truly offer in your business and that you can consistently keep offering. And maybe every year you add to that rather than trying to do too much all at once. The other thing I have, and if you're listening to this, you're like, wow, I have a lot of changes to make in my business. And most businesses have a lot of changes to make in their business. So they're operating at a way they can profit. So then you have a transition period, and it's a period where you're having to change things. Maybe you have a new mission statement, some new core values, whatever it is that you're rolling out to make your business a better business for what you feel the future is. There's always going to be a transition period where people leave, and that's just the reality. People come and go. Don't take it personal. And if you're laying out a business that has true meaning and can operate better at a higher level with just more offerings, then stand behind that because that just takes time for that transition to get over. And sometimes there's a transition period where people need to go. It's just time. It may not feel good, but sometimes you can't see the future beyond that. And then the dust all settles and you're like, wow, that needed to happen sooner than later. So transition periods can be frustrating or maybe a little overwhelming, but they're necessary.
All right. Want to talk about why salons might lose booth renters?
Sure. Would love to.
Do you want me to run through and go back and forth again or?
Sure. I got a couple not written down, but I have them.
The cost. So this is an unfortunate one, I think, but people are going to compare the cost to rent from you and what's provided with what's provided at the salon across the street. And unfortunately, I think people or I think what people did was they raced to give away as much
Mhm.
free as possible. So meaning amenities, it's it started as you're an independent business owner. you're the boss, you're going to take care of all your own stuff. And then it turned into, but we'll give you software, we'll provide the back bar, we'll provide towel service, we'll provide cleaning, we'll provide all these things. And so it's easy now for a renter to be like, well, that place is offering for the same rent a lot more stuff and I have to do even less. And
Mhm.
I think that that is enticing to people. And I think
Mhm.
that the renting sort of hair world shot themselves in the foot with that one.
Yeah.
And it's something that is, I don't know how you correct it other than people like eventually places are going to go out of business because they're either not going to have people. Unfortunately, we don't want to see that happen, or they're going to go out of business because they have people, but they're paying out so much. We
Mhm.
know this. We know for a fact people that have done this, and they're
Yeah.
like, I don't know what to do now because I'm paying out so much more than I'm bringing
Right.
in because they're doing snacks and they're doing these services and they're adding stuff. And it's like, that's wild to me because these people wanted to be independent, but they really don't want to be independent
Mhm.
because, and it's on the owners because they were just trying to fill their salons.
Right. I would say too, if you're one of those salons and you're offering all those amenities, cool. Well, what you need to do is make sure you're charging enough to where you want to be profitable and you're covering all those amenities. So yes, they're included and you may offer them as if they're complimentary, but making sure the rent that's getting paid by the renter is covering all that and there's money left over.
Right. But what I'm saying is that there's salons not doing it. So why wouldn't
I
I
don't
just
think
go to
any of
that?
the salons are doing it.
Right.
But if you were like, I love that, like that's, but you have to look at it from a business perspective. Again, what you said in the beginning, you have to know your numbers. So if you want to offer all this stuff, what does that cost you to offer all that plus rent? And now it looks like you're basically offering them like a package. And if you're not doing that, then you're going to be in that transition period that I just talked about in commission salons in your own salon, because now you've got to reevaluate and you have to come at that package from a different perspective.
The next one I had was, and this falls under expectations, I guess, which shouldn't, but people want marketing. People want
Yeah.
marketing support. And I don't think that you should be marketing. It's just my opinion that you are. I'm not talking about like Instagram sharing somebody's stuff or blasting them or whatever, but I've seen businesses that are paying out a lot of money in marketing for people that they're not making the money back off of.
Right.
So if, for example, I rent you a chair and I'm making $200 a week, let's just say. So I have $800 a month that I'm making off of you, but I'm spending $600 on marketing now for you. Like it's impossible for me to, what do I do?
Yeah.
How do I make money there?
Right.
So I think that's another misconception or another expectation that people have. And my last point will kind of highlight that too. So again, I don't know how you fix that other than you need to build that into your price, but then you're going to be higher of a price
Hmm.
place and people are going to go to the cheaper place because that's really
Right.
what it's about. The next point I had was, did you have anything on that? Sorry.
No, I think that was great.
Okay. Micromanaging. So I've been seeing this trend of I
Hmm.
want all the renters to charge the same for their haircuts.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's insane to me. You have no say over what they charge.
No.
I want them all. I've seen this. I want them all to use the same products, so I have consistency in my salon. Well, it sounds like you wanted a commission salon,
Right.
which is what you should have had. But
Hmm.
a lot of people want the cake and to eat it too, right? So that is what it is. How do you fix that? You leave people alone. They're independent. You let them be independent.
Hmm. Out of your control.
Yeah. Do you have anything on that one?
I think that's great. If you're gonna be, if I was renting a chair, buzz off. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
my own thing. I worked at a place once where I was renting the chair. I got my own business cards, and at that salon, they were like, "You can't have your own business card. You have to have my business cards, and you have to have the salon phone on it." And you know what I said? No, I don't. Not doing it. I won't answer your salon phone. I don't need your salon phone, and I'm definitely not advertising for you. I work independently under your roof. I mean, there was nothing she could do about it. She was pissed off, but I'm like, I don't work for you. I work for myself. I rent a chair for you. I give you my check every week. Leave me alone.
Yeah. And she closed. So there you go. Doesn't
And she
work.
closed. Yeah.
So the next one is in actually, you know what? I want to skip. I'm going to flip these. So this is another expectation thing, but I've seen this personally. There's no walk-ins. So you're not you're not required to provide walk-ins to people. I don't
No.
get this. But what people are doing is they're leaving cosmetology school and they're jumping straight into rental, and they don't know how to market. They don't know how to run a business because they went to cosmetology school, not to business school.
Mm-hmm.
And they're totally confused of why they're an independent boss babe, but they're getting no walk-ins. So I think that's just the way that business is structured, the whole rental thing incorrectly. And now you have people that are just expecting that.
Right.
And
When
so
it's on
they're
them
going
to
to
build their
go
own
to,
business.
right. And so what they're going to do is they're going to go to places that have walk-ins, or at least what we've seen in the past, promise people walk-ins, but don't actually give them
Correct.
when they get there.
Right.
So, and then that place closes, and then the other people don't even do hair anymore. So great. So this is really saving the industry here. Anyways, the last one I wanted to talk about was a lack of community and culture. So
Yeah.
that sort of community vibe that everybody wants, they're not getting it, especially with suites and stuff like that. And I don't know how many people we've talked to that are like,
Mm-hmm.
I've had people just the other day. You had somebody who was like, I love working in my suite, but I miss like the vibe of the salon.
Yeah. The hustle and bustle, right? Just that kind of thing.
I think even more just to have people around to talk, for to use a stupid term, but to talk shop with,
Right.
or to
Yeah.
bounce ideas off of. And
Absolutely.
I'm sure there are rental places that are doing it and have like a community sort of feel like that, but that's going to be tough in a suite
Mm-hmm.
for
Yeah, for
sure. I
sure.
mean, what are you doing? Walking out and walking into someone else's suite and being like, "Hey, how's it going? What would you
Right.
do for this?" Like, no, I'd be like, "Get out of here." But yeah, again, I don't know how you fix that because people are independent. You can't really force them to be friends or to talk or to have a culture like that. And to be honest, a lot of the places that we talk to that are rental places like that, everyone kind of does their own thing, and it is what it is.
Mhm.
All right. I
I
thought you'd
think
have more on that one.
well, I was just gonna go off of it. I think with what you're gonna start to see, and this is why people are leaving, is you have the people that were working in commission salons that were toxic. So they went out to rent. They found a rental salon and that one was still too controlling or the culture was bad. So then they went into a suite and then they thought like, oh, the quietness of my suite will be great. And then they're like, well, now I miss these other things. Like, so there's this kind of like wave in the rental or booth rental or independent, whatever word you want to say, world of kind of like things that I want, and in each one of those concepts there are good things, and then in each one of those concepts there are bad things. And so I think there's this world of like, wow, what do I actually want if I'm on my own, or do I want to be on my own anymore? We're seeing some of that also. I I don't know. I think the industry right now, I think there's just going to be a shakeup and we're going to start to see some different things. But I see with renting is a lot of times to what you said, some people are trying to control too much and nobody wants that. And you have so many now different places popping up. If your place is outdated, they have nothing invested in you. There's no risk. All they have when they pay you is to rent a chair and a station. So it's very easy for them to pack up one day, go work down the street for a couple months, pack up then go work over here. They literally can just be, what's that term? Like a vagabond, like really just they don't need to align with anybody
Yeah,
because
vagabond.
they're so mobile and it's made it so risk free that as long as they have their client list, which they do now, they can literally go to a different salon, the newer one that pops up, go over there. Or if it's a price point, go to the lower one and keep moving around. It's become so easy for them. So there's no more like loyalty, I feel, within that. I see it all the time. People that are there for a little bit and then the next one opens up and it's under new leadership. It feels good because the grass always seems greener on the other side. And then they pick up and go. So if you're not creating an atmosphere that really feels unique to the next one that's open, you're gonna have that turnover all the time, which goes for commission salons too. And again, you might
Oh
be
yeah,
listening
yeah,
saying,
yeah,
"Well, that's not
definitely.
where that's not the salon I run." Maybe it isn't, but majority of it is,
Today,
and this is just where it is.
not the salon you run today, but if you're
Yeah.
not constantly keeping up, then people are going to leave. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Um,
let's chat about why salons or hair pros in general are losing clients. Why do people lose clients?
oh yeah, this is a good one too.
My first thing was inconsistency.
Yeah, that's great.
So you're inconsistent. That's a big turn
Yeah,
off
they come
for
in
a lot
once,
of
they come in
people.
again, and they're getting 2 different experiences.
Yeah, or I guess the quality, inconsistency in
Mhm.
quality
The
would be the
presence
first one.
on your website, is it the same as what's actually in your salon? Because we see that too.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, everything looks amazing on your website or on your Instagram, and then you show up to a place and you're like, this is not even the close to the vibe that
Correct.
they put out there.
Yeah.
And people get annoyed with that stuff because they feel like you've misled them, which you have. And you
Yeah.
might not even have meant to. You might have started off with a salon that was beautiful and gorgeous, and then you didn't keep it up.
Mhm.
You didn't maintain that. So now it's like, dude, how long how long am I going to come in here and watch this place just get run down? You know
Right.
what I mean?
And
Or
I
they
take that
show up and or it's a new client and they show up and they're like, "Wow, this is not even it, like yeah, everything looks clean in your photos, but it's not clean in reality, you know?"
right. I would take that even to your staff pictures because I see it all the time and I love it. I think it looks so neat and clean. I see these like staff photo parties, right? And you have everybody in a black pants and a beige top or black and white or all black, but that's not what they actually show up to work at. So your pictures for your staff online look like they are top-notch professionals offering like this beautiful presence. And then what's happening is they got ready for that photo shoot, but in real life, they never look like that ever, ever, ever again. So you've like set that client up to fail with that staff member because they will never, ever come in looking like that again. Again, it looks beautiful on your website, but I'd be careful if those same people aren't going to follow those rules every day when they're servicing clients.
Agreed. So, connection or lack of connection, you talk about connection all the time.
Yeah, this one's, I think, at top of the charts. I'd say it's huge.
I think you can do a lot of little things for clients to make them feel special and to
Hmm.
retain them. And it doesn't take very much work. For example, I'll use our software to make notes in people's files so that I can quickly look at that when I have somebody coming in because I have a lot of clients that are like, they'll put their haircuts off. I'm a
Hmm.
barber. So I have a lot of dudes. And guess what dudes do? They wait till the last minute or they wait till an event or they wait till whatever. So I have guys that I'll see like every 4 months and I'm like, I don't even recognize this guy, you know? And so not only am I not going to remember what haircut I gave them because everybody wants to be like, can we do what you did last time? I'm not going to remember 4 months
Yeah.
from now. But what I can do is look in my notes and be like, oh, this person had a wedding coming up, or this person had their wife was pregnant last time and probably had the baby. Like, so you can check in on them and you can be
Hmm.
like, hey, and that makes that connection. You know, that's a little thing that you can do that I think makes a big difference to
Agreed.
connecting with people. That's just one example.
I also we teach our staff this all the time. Like when they're in an appointment, talk about the next time they come in. Hey, next time when you come in, we should try this. Another connection for the future. So they're like, oh wow, you're thinking about like when I come back in 4, 6 weeks. Works really well for color appointments, obviously, because you can say, like, hey, we could try this, we could go lighter, darker, but just little ways to get them excited about their next appointment to come back so that when they rebook or if they don't rebook, they're still thinking of you also. And they're looking when they decide, oh, I need to go in and get that color done. They're like, oh, she had an idea for this next appointment. You're going to most likely have that person back in your chair, excited for that appointment.
Definitely. That was connection, right?
Yes.
So, customer experience. If you have a
Yeah.
poor customer experience, you're going to have a hard time retaining clients. It just is what it is. Customer clients will drive past how many salons to get to yours.
Yeah.
So in some
So many.
cases, it's dozens,
Hmm.
right? Think of any small town in America and think of how many strip malls there are. And think of in each one of those strip malls, there's probably some sort of hair salon.
Hmm.
Every one. In several of them, there are multiple hair salons. Now think about that person driving from 4 towns over.
Right.
Now think about a city. Places are stacked on top of each other.
Hmm.
So clients have options. So if you're going to have a bad customer experience, they're going to choose to go somewhere else.
Because it's easy for them.
It's way easy for them. And what
Hmm.
do I mean by customer experience? It could be as simple as your booking software. When's the last time you've looked at what it looks like for a client to use your software? Because softwares get buggy, they get
Mhm.
glitches, they have stuff. So you have to check that from time to time. Is it easy? Is it an easy process for me to even book an appointment with you? How about find you online? A lot of places don't have a website. They have like a Facebook page where
It's
they maybe
wild.
have updated it in 2021 or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that doesn't help me. I don't know what's going on in your business, so I'm not going to go to it. And if you're like, well, Todd's whatever, or jerk or whatever, not really. I would argue that a lot of people are similar in thinking. You're
Yeah.
making it too difficult. You're thinking
Things
it
have to be
about
easy
you.
or I don't wanna do it. No one has time for
Yes.
that.
You're thinking people are searching you out to search you out. They're not necessarily doing that. They're searching for solutions to their problems.
Mhm.
And a lot of people are able to solve their problem. Say they want their hair lighter. They have a problem. They want their hair lighter. They don't know how to do it. A lot of people could be the solution to that problem.
Right.
How are you the best solution to their problem?
Mhm.
And so that is experience. What if you're constantly running late, right? If you're somebody that's always late, clients might put up with that a time or two, but then they might be
Mhm.
like, like for example, I'll go to a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment and be like, they'll message and be like, show up 20 minutes early to your appointment. No, thanks. I'll start showing up on time when you show up on time. I'm
Right.
not showing up 20 minutes early to sit there for 40 minutes because you're
Yeah.
always 20 minutes late.
Right.
And that if I'm willing to do that to my doctor, I don't care about a haircut that much.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a guy. I know women are going to be different, but it is what it is. You want to treat people good. You want to have that customer experience. You want to
Right.
that's where you can really set yourself apart. So yeah, booking reminders and follow-ups. When's the last time you followed up with a client? When's the last time you sent a note to a client saying like, "Hey, had a good time. Hope that you love your hair. Here's the products that I was telling you about if you're interested. How about here's a link."
Mhm.
That's even easier. Just make stuff easy and make people understand that you're thinking about them and that
Right.
you appreciate them coming into your business to spend their dollars.
I think even with customer experience, like you were saying, we give new clients a tour. People like it, they want to know where the bathroom is and kind of what other things are going around in the salon. And I think it gives them the permission to move around your salon. If they're new in there and they don't feel like they're like able to do that, they just sit down in the chair and they're just sitting there like frozen, right? So the tour for us just really is like, here's where everything is in our salon, which to me gives them permission without saying, I give you permission. That sounds cheesy, but basically to just roam around if you need to. Now you know where everything is. Let's go do whatever you came here for today. But again, it just goes back to making the client feel as comfortable as possible.
So I had pricing issues on here. So if you have like a confusing pricing structure, you're going to throw people
Yeah.
off. That's very off-putting. So what I mean by that, what might that look like in practice? So I go into your salon and I have long hair and I booked a haircut and you're like, "Oh, your hair's long, so it took me longer, so I have to charge you more." Or, "Oh, I had to use 2 extra bowls of color, so I had to charge you more." When people are confused by that, and I'm not saying don't charge more when you use more product. Trust me, I'm saying the opposite of that.
Hmm.
But what I'm saying is the client needs to understand what's going on. And if they
Right.
don't, that's a red flag for them.
Yeah.
Because what are you going to do next? Are you going to become Ticketmaster and just start adding fees? Are you going to become your cell phone bill and just be like, "Oh, convenience fee or this fee or that fee?" People want transparency and they want to be able to budget for things. Some people are going to come to you and they're on a strict budget. So you should really be going over pricing during your consultation. If you're not,
Right.
that's a huge failure on your part.
Agreed.
But people want that and they want to know upfront. And so, whatever, that's what you need to do. I don't want to
That's
get too far on
huge
a
because
tangent. So,
well, because that one, you see the people that bring their client up to the front, they're like running away or they're afraid to tell them the price. And that's on you because just like you just said,
yeah,
consultation is where you go over all that. And it could be, hey, if I have to use extra color, there's going to be an extra charge. You've just now alerted them for that. Whether you know what that charge is or not, you've let them know sort of like all of the pop ups that could come at the end of the appointment, in the beginning of the appointment. And that's just keeping it, you just have to do that, period.
the last thing I had on here is just your competition's better than you.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I have. And I know in the hair industry, there's this like no competition thing. That's stupid. Look, here's the deal. All businesses are competing, whether you say they are or they're
Yeah.
not. When you have two pizza places that are in the same town, they're competing. Why? Because people
They're
want
always going to be
pizza
compared to each
and
other.
they're going to be comparing.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if you're not upping your game and you're not doing your best thing to go through and do all of the things that we talked about and
Mhm.
then more, like if you're not upping your client experience, but another salon is, well, they're beating you.
Mhm.
Sorry. If they're
I
more
mean,
transparent and they go through their consultations and it's like, wow, I feel heard. How many times have we had people that are like, I don't ever feel like I've had a consultation before?
right. Right.
So guess what? That other salon lost. Am I
Yeah.
saying that we're the best? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you need to be striving to be your best in
Right.
your business or your salon or your career. And that should be enough to build a full clientele
Mhm.
and to stay busy and to thrive in this industry. You have to
Competition
do
is a great
your
word.
best. Don't
It's
do
not a
other
negative
people's
word.
best. No, I could never. I can't stand that. No
I
competition.
think it
I don't feel like I should. I've had people that say I don't feel like I should have competition.
yeah,
What?
that's a
What talk?
healthy thing, and it makes you be your best self. And I
It
think the
drives
biggest thing here
innovation.
is
It's any industry
yeah.
in the United States because we have a free market. It drives innovation. You
Mhm.
open a business, I'm going to open the same business across the street,
Yep.
and we are both capable of thriving.
Yeah. Well, we always say what sets you apart, right? So to me, the competition aspect is what sets you apart. Why would someone pick you over the other 12 salons they just drove by? And if you're always striving to be that much better in your own business, you're more often going to get picked. I would say too cleanliness. I think that's huge. I think people
Oh,
look
that's a
for
good one.
that. Is your salon clean when I walk in, and are you cleaning it all the time? We
Get
are
under
wiping down sinks and chairs every time someone sits in it, like every single time. That level of cleanliness, I think, is very important to people, and I do feel they're searching out for just not only the look of clean, but that you actually are doing the cleaning.
for sure. I would put that under inconsistency or the
I could
customer
say that.
experience, but yeah, that's a
Mhm.
great one. Just cleanliness overall.
Yeah,
What's the vibe? All right. You have anything else?
I think
I
that's
think
great.
we've been rambling long enough. That was a long
Yeah,
episode. All right, cool. Well, jump on our email list if you guys aren't already. We send out a newsletter every week, 321 Pro Push, and you can expect lots of insights on there. And it's been a lot of fun. That list is growing a little bit. It's pretty cool. And
awesome.
yeah, so thanks everyone. See you next
Bye.
time.